The alert sounded at 300 hours, a sharp, insistent beeping that pulled Senior Analyst June from his half-sleep at Monitoring Station 6. His eyes snapped open, scanning the array of holographic displays that surrounded his workstation. "What is it?" he called out, voice still rough from lack of use during the quiet night shift at Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station. "Unknown object at the edge of the Kuiper Belt," his colleague Suk answered, her fingers already flying across her control panel. "Moving fast. Too fast for a comet or asteroid." June leaned forward, eyes narrowing as the data streamed in. "Is it one of ours?" "Checking registry now," Suk said. "No match with any Earth vessel. But that's strange." "What?" "The engine signature. It's similar to ours, almost like human tech, but different somehow." June's heart beat faster. In his 5 years at the monitoring station, they had never encountered anything like this. He pressed a button on his console. "This is Senior Analyst June at Deep Space Monitoring. We have an anomaly that requires immediate attention. Requesting Captain Kim Tahoe." Captain Kim Tahoe stood rigid on the bridge of the EDF Sentinel, Earth's most advanced defense vessel. At 52, he had spent most of his life protecting Earth from potential threats. But in all those years, nothing had prepared him for what he was seeing on the main view screen. "Show me the scan results again," he ordered. His first officer, Commander Park, nodded. "The vessel is approximately 300 meters in length, heavily armed, but most weapon systems appear inactive. It's slowing as it approaches the orbit of Neptune. And you're certain it's not one of ours? Not experimental? Not from the Mars colonies?" "Confirmed, sir. We've checked with all Earth and Mars facilities. No one claims knowledge of this ship." Captain Kim frowned. "Yet it uses technology compatible with our systems." "Yes, sir. That's what makes this so strange. The design is clearly human-influenced, but the materials and some of the technology appear to be centuries ahead of our capabilities." Kim walked closer to the view screen, studying the approaching vessel. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, with faint blue lights running along what appeared to be weapons ports. The design was sleek, predatory, built for war. "Is it broadcasting?" Commander Park hesitated. "Yes, sir. A distress signal." But what, Commander?" "It's in Korean, sir. An old dialect, almost like something from centuries ago." Kim's eyebrows rose in surprise. As a Korean himself, this detail caught his attention immediately. "Let me hear it." The bridge speakers crackled to life. The message was fragmented, broken by static, but unmistakably Korean. Even with his fluent knowledge of the language, Kim struggled to understand all of it. The dialect was indeed archaic. "Hanguk's vengeance. Survivors. Attack. Return to. Warning." "Sir," his communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving an automated request to dock from the vessel's onboard AI." Kim stared at the mysterious ship on the screen. Earth had not built this warship. Yet here it was, human in design, broadcasting in Korean, and apparently seeking help. "Alert the United Earth Government. Classification level Omega. And prepare a boarding team. Full containment protocols." "Sir." Commander Park looked concerned. "We don't know what's on that ship." "Which is precisely why we need to find out," Kim replied, his eyes never leaving the screen. "If that ship was built by humans, I want to know who they are and where they came from. And more importantly, what they're running from." As the Sentinel moved into position alongside the mysterious vessel, Captain Kim couldn't shake the feeling that everything they knew about humanity's place in the universe was about to change. Commander Park Ji-soo checked her suit seals one last time. The boarding team of 6 stood in the airlock, weapons ready but set to stun. No one knew what waited for them on the mysterious ship. "Remember," Park said to her team, "we go in slow and careful. Look for any signs of life, but touch nothing unless I say so." The airlock cycled, and the team moved through the connecting tunnel to the strange vessel. The ship's outer door opened without resistance. "That's odd," said Security Officer Juan. "It's letting us in." Park nodded. "Stay alert." They entered a darkened corridor. As soon as they stepped inside, soft blue lights came on along the floor and ceiling. The air smelled clean but stale. "Breathable atmosphere," reported Medical Officer Sun, checking her scanner. "Temperature normal. No signs of harmful bacteria or viruses." The team moved deeper into the ship. The design was clearly made for humans. The corridors were the right height, the control panels at human level. But everything looked more advanced than Earth technology. "Look at this," Engineer Yoon said, pointing to writing on a wall panel. "It's in Korean." Park moved closer. The writing clearly read, "Hanguk's Vengeance," in Korean characters. "Captain Kim," Park spoke into her comm, "we've confirmed the ship's name. It's definitely Korean in origin." "Understood," came Kim's voice. "Any crew?" "Not yet, sir. We're heading to the bridge now." The team made their way forward. The ship seemed empty but undamaged. No signs of battle inside. No bodies, just an eerie silence. When they reached the bridge, the doors slid open automatically. Inside, everything was neat and orderly. No signs of a struggle or emergency evacuation. "Look there." Medical Officer Sun pointed to a glass chamber at the back of the bridge. Inside was a woman, eyes closed, floating in a clear liquid. She wore a simple gray uniform with markings they didn't recognize. "Cryostasis," Sun said, examining the control panel. "She's alive." Suddenly, all the screens on the bridge lit up. A soft, deep voice spoke in perfect Korean. "Welcome aboard Hanguk's Vengeance. I am Dae, the ship's artificial intelligence. Please state your authorization code." Park exchanged glances with her team before responding. "This is Commander Park Ji-soo of the Earth Defense Fleet. We have no authorization code. We responded to your distress signal." A pause. Then, "Earth Defense Fleet. Processing. This is unexpected." Another pause. "My sensors confirm you are human. This is sufficient for emergency protocols. The ship is at your disposal, Commander." "Can you tell us who built this ship?" Park asked. This vessel was constructed at the new Joseon Naval Yards in the Ta City system, commissioned by the Korean Stellar Republic. The team looked at each other in confusion. Earth had no colonies in the Ta City system. There was no Korean Stellar Republic. "And the woman in stasis?" Park asked. "Lieutenant Han Soo-bin, tactical officer. She is the sole survivor of our crew." "What happened to the others?" The AI paused longer this time before answering. "They were lost during our escape from the Void Dominion attack on New Joseon. Lieutenant Han carries critical information that must reach Earth." Park approached the stasis chamber, looking at the sleeping woman's face. She appeared peaceful, unaware that her very existence challenged everything they knew about human history. "Captain Kim," Park reported, "we found one survivor in cryostasis. And sir, this ship claims to be from a Korean colony that doesn't exist." Back on the Sentinel, Captain Kim frowned. "Bring her out of stasis. I want answers." Park turned to Medical Officer Sun. "Can we safely wake her?" Sun studied the control panel. "The system is similar to ours, just more advanced. We can do it, but we should move her to our medical bay first." "Da," Park addressed the AI. "We need to transfer Lieutenant Han to our ship. Will you allow this?" "I will permit it," Dae responded. "But I must warn you. What she knows will change everything." Lieutenant Han Soo-bin opened her eyes slowly. The bright lights of the medical bay made her squint. Her throat felt dry, her mind foggy. She tried to sit up but found her body weak. "Easy," said a gentle voice. "You've been in cryosleep for a long time." Soo-bin turned to see a woman in a white medical uniform. The woman smiled and offered her a cup of water. "Where am I?" Soo-bin asked after drinking. Her voice was rough from lack of use. "You're on the EDF Sentinel, an Earth Defense Fleet vessel," Medical Officer Sun replied. "I'm Sun Hee, the Chief Medical Officer." Soo-bin's eyes widened. Earth? That's impossible. Earth is. She stopped, confusion clear on her face. Captain Kim and Commander Park entered the medical bay. They stood at the foot of Su Bin's bed, watching her carefully. Lieutenant Han Su Bin, Captain Kim said formally. I'm Captain Kim Ta-ho of the Earth Defense Fleet. We found you on a ship called Hangik's Vengeance. Su Bin stared at them. You're Earth humans. As opposed to what other kind? Commander Park asked. Su Bin sat up straighter. Colony humans. I'm from New Joseon. We're a Korean colony that left Earth 300 years ago. Captain Kim frowned. That's not possible. Earth has no colonies outside our solar system, and certainly none that left 300 years ago. But that's... Su Bin closed her eyes, pressing her fingers to her temples. My memory is fragmented. The emergency cryostasis must have affected my brain. Medical Officer Sun checked her scanner. You're showing signs of memory fragmentation, but your brain function is normal. There are some unusual genetic markers, though. Small changes to your DNA that aren't typical in Earth humans. Su Bin looked at her hands as if seeing them for the first time. The colony modifications. All New Joseon citizens have them. Better resistance to radiation, improved immune system. Captain Kim pulled a chair closer to Su Bin's bed and sat down. Lieutenant Han, Earth has never sent colony ships to create a place called New Joseon. Your ship has technology far beyond our capabilities. I need you to tell me everything you remember. Su Bin took a deep breath. We were attacked. The Void Dominion found our colony. They always find human colonies eventually. The Void Dominion? Commander Park asked. They're an alien species, ancient and powerful. They believe humans shouldn't be allowed to spread through the galaxy. Su Bin's hands began to shake. They destroyed everything. New Joseon is gone. We were the last ship to escape. But how did your people leave Earth 300 years ago? Captain Kim pressed. We had no such technology then. Su Bin looked confused again. The founders discovered something. An ancient alien outpost on Earth's moon. They kept it secret, used the technology to build ships. She paused. But that's in all our history books. You should know this. There was never any alien outpost found on our moon, Captain Kim said firmly. Su Bin stared at him in shock. Then how? Where? Suddenly her eyes widened. What year is it? 2157, Commander Park answered. That's right, Su Bin whispered. But in our history, the founders discovered the outpost in 1857, 300 years ago. She looked up at them, realization dawning on her face. Something is very wrong. Either your history is different, or what? Captain Kim asked. Or I've somehow crossed between realities, Su Bin said quietly. The Void Dominion weapons were hitting our jump drive when we activated it. Dai warned me it might have unforeseen consequences. The three Earth officers exchanged concerned glances. Either this woman was mentally unstable, or they were facing something far beyond their understanding. Captain, Commander Park said urgently, the ship's database. We need to see if it supports her story. Captain Kim nodded. And we need to know if this Void Dominion is a threat in our reality too. He turned back to Su Bin. Rest for now. We'll talk more when you're stronger. As they left the medical bay, Captain Kim's face was grim. Have Engineer Choi start decrypting that ship's database immediately. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with. Engineer Choi Do-Yun rubbed his tired eyes. He had been working for 16 hours straight, trying to access the database of the mysterious warship. The ship's AI, Dai, was not making it easy. Access denied, Daz said for the 10th time. Those files require command authorization. Choi sighed. Listen, Dai, we need to verify Lieutenant Han's story. If the Void Dominion is real, Earth needs to prepare. The AI was silent for a moment. I will require Lieutenant Han's voice authorization. Fine, Choi said, tapping his comm. Medical, is Lieutenant Han able to come to the ship? 20 minutes later, Subin entered the bridge of Hanguk's Vengeance, now wearing an Earth Defense Fleet uniform. She looked better after a day of rest, though still pale. "Die," she said clearly. "Authorization hand Subin. Tactical Officer. ID KKSR 117-9876. Override Protocol Exodus." Voice pattern confirmed. Day responded. "Warning. Full database access will reveal classified information." "I understand," Subin said. "These people need to know what's coming." The main screen of the bridge lit up with files and schematics. Choi gasped at the amount of data suddenly available. "This is," he whispered, "incredible. Weapon systems I've never even imagined. Engine design centuries ahead of ours." Subin pointed to a specific file. "Open the battle records first." The screen filled with images that made Choi's blood run cold. Massive black ships with strange, organic-looking designs firing weapons that seemed to tear apart space itself. Planets with vast burning areas. Colony cities in ruins. "The Void Dominion," Subin said quietly. "They've destroyed 17 human colonies that we know of. New Joseon was the 18th. Tactical Officer Lee Minho, who had joined them on the bridge, studied the battle footage carefully. "These attack patterns, they're systematic, precise. And these weapons," Lee pointed to a section of the ship where the hull was damaged. "This matches the damage on your ship. What kind of weapon did this?" "They call it void corruption," Subin explained. "It doesn't just damage matter. It breaks down the atomic bonds. Nothing we've created can fully shield against it." Choi had moved on to examining the ship's weapon systems. "But your weapons, they're unlike anything we have. This main cannon, what is it?" "Gravitational lance," Subin said. "It creates a focused gravitational distortion that can tear apart even void ships. It was our newest weapon. We only managed to destroy 3 of their ships before New Joseon fell." Lee looked up from his analysis. "Why do they hunt humans? What did we do to them?" Subin's face darkened. "They believe we stole technology that wasn't meant for us. The ancient outpost the founders discovered. It belonged to a species the Void Dominion wiped out eons ago. They see humans as scavengers, unworthy of the stars." Captain Kim entered the bridge, his face serious. "I just received word from Deep Space Monitoring. 3 unknown vessels have entered the outer solar system, following the same trajectory your ship took." Subin's face went pale. "They followed me, even between realities." "How is that possible?" Choi asked. "The Void leave quantum markers on anything they attack," Subin explained. "Their ships can follow these markers across vast distances, even, it seems, across realities." Captain Kim's jaw tightened. "How long do we have?" Lee checked the sensor data. "At their current speed, 3 days before they reach Earth orbit." "Then we have 3 days to prepare," Kim said firmly. "Engineer Choi, I need you and Lieutenant Han to adapt these weapon designs to our defense platforms. Can it be done?" Choi looked at the complex schematics, then at Subin. "With her help, maybe. But we'll need every engineer on Earth working around the clock." "Then that's what we'll get," Captain Kim said. "Because if these void ships are anything like what I just saw in those records, Earth's current defenses won't stand a chance." Alarms blared throughout Earth's defense grid. On every screen, 3 dark shapes moved steadily toward Earth, now past the orbit of Mars. In the United Earth Government Emergency Chamber, Captain Kim stood before the Defense Council. On the large display behind him were images of the approaching vessels. "These are Void Dominion scout ships," Kim explained. "According to Lieutenant Han, they are just the first wave. If they report that humans exist in this reality, a larger fleet will follow." General Wong, head of Earth's military forces, frowned. "And we're supposed to believe this woman who claims to be from another reality. This could be an elaborate trick." "I've seen their weapons capabilities in the ship's records," Kim argued. "Nothing in our arsenal can match them. We need to implement the defensive upgrades Lieutenant Han and Engineer Choi have developed." Council Chairwoman Riza leaned forward. Captain, these upgrades would require redirecting 30% of Earth's power grid. That's a massive commitment based on the word of a stranger. Before Kim could respond, the chamber doors opened. Su Bin entered, followed by Engineer Choi. She walked to the center of the room, her steps steady despite the hostile stares. Council members, she said clearly, I understand your doubts. In your position, I would have the same. But the ships approaching Earth are not coming to talk. They are coming to destroy. She nodded to Choi, who activated a small device. A three-dimensional image appeared in the air, a recording from New Joseon's final hours. The council members watched in horror as black ships tore through defensive lines, as cities burned, as millions died. This was my home, Su Bin said quietly. This will be Earth if we don't act now. The council room was silent for a long moment. Then General Wong stood. What do you need? On the bridge of the EDF Sentinel, now upgraded with technology from Hangik's Vengeance, Captain Kim watched as Earth's defense fleet took up positions. 20 ships, the best Earth had, formed a protective screen between the approaching aliens and their home planet. Void ships will exit light speed in 5 minutes, Tactical Officer Lee reported. Su Bin, now wearing the insignia of a special advisor to Earth forces, checked the weapon systems. Gravitational lances are charged at 60%. Not ideal, but it will have to do. All ships report ready, Commander Park added. Defense platforms around Earth are online. Captain Kim nodded. Now we see if our preparations were enough. The minutes ticked by slowly. Then, at the edge of their sensor range, space seemed to twist. 3 black ships, shaped like giant arrowheads, appeared. Void scouts detected, Lee announced, his voice tense. They're scanning us. Hold positions, Kim ordered. Don't fire until they're in optimal range. The void ships moved forward slowly, their black hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. They're charging weapons, Su Bin warned. Standard pattern. They'll target our largest ship first. Kim's jaw tightened. That would be us. 30 seconds to optimal firing range, Lee said. The lead void ship suddenly accelerated, a purple glow building at its front. Evasive action, Kim shouted. All ships, engage. The space between the fleets lit up with energy beams and gravitational distortions. The Sentinel shuddered as it narrowly avoided the void ship's main weapon. Direct hit on Void Ship 1. Lee reported as one of Earth's vessels scored with its newly upgraded weapons. The void ship's hull cracked, dark energy spilling out like blood. Su Bin's hands flew over her console, targeting their propulsion systems. Fire. The gravitational lance from the Sentinel struck the damaged void ship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ship seemed to collapse in on itself before exploding outward in a shower of dark fragments. One down, Park shouted. Captain Kim allowed himself a brief moment of hope. 2 more to go. And this was just the first skirmish. As if in response, the remaining void ships accelerated, weapons charging. The real battle for Earth had just begun. The battle had lasted 6 hours. 6 hours of desperate fighting, of ships burning in the cold of space, of sailors giving their lives to protect Earth. When it ended, the defense fleet had destroyed the remaining 2 void scout ships, but at a terrible cost. 7 Earth vessels were lost, thousands of lives gone. In the quiet of Captain Kim's office aboard the damaged Sentinel, Su Bin sat with her head bowed. Her uniform was torn, a bandage wrapped around her arm where she had been injured during the fight. You fought well, Kim said, pouring her a small glass of clear liquid. Your knowledge of their tactics saved many lives. Su Bin took the drink but didn't raise it. Not enough, she whispered. Never enough. Kim sat down across from her. The council wants to know everything. They believe you now, but they need to understand what we're facing. He paused. And so do I. Su Bin looked up, her eyes tired but clear. What do you want to know, Captain? The truth. All of it. How did your timeline diverge from ours? How did Koreans get into space centuries before the rest of Earth? Soo Bin took a deep breath. It started in 1851. In your timeline, a meteor crashed in the mountains near Busan, Korea. It was just a meteor, nothing more. And in your timeline, it wasn't a meteor. It was a small scout ship from the architects, the race the Void Dominion had wiped out millennia ago. Kim leaned forward. Go on. A group of scholars found it. Inside were technologies they couldn't understand, but they knew the discovery could change everything. Korea was weak then, threatened by larger powers. They kept the find secret. They reverse-engineered alien technology in the 1800s. Kim asked, disbelief in his voice. Soo Bin shook her head. Not at first. They studied it for decades. Slowly, they understood small pieces. By the early 1900s, they had built their first simple anti-gravity device. By the 1930s, while the world was heading toward war, Korea's secret space program was sending the first explorers to the moon. Where they found more alien technology, Kim guessed. Yes, a hidden outpost, a library of knowledge. The first colonists left Earth in 1957, heading for the stars while your timeline was just launching its first satellite. Kim sat back, trying to absorb this information. And the Void Dominion. They are the self-appointed guardians of the galaxy. They believe younger races must evolve naturally without finding the technology of older races. Soo Bin's face hardened. They've destroyed countless civilizations they deemed unworthy inheritors. But why send your ship here, to another reality? Soo Bin looked away. It wasn't intentional. We were trying to reach Alpha Centauri, where another Korean colony existed. But the void weapons damaged our reality drive. We ended up here instead. Kim frowned. But that means... Yes, Soo Bin cut in. The Void Dominion exists in all realities. They've simply never found Earth in yours. Until now. She met his eyes. I led them here. I didn't mean to, but I did. The ship's comm system beeped. Captain. Commander Park's voice came through. The AI dive is requesting access to all of our defense systems. It says it has something important to share. Kim looked at Soo Bin questioningly. Let him in, she said. Dai wasn't just our ship's eye. He's the last surviving copy of the architect's knowledge base. He's been waiting for the right moment to share everything. Why wait until now? Because now you believe me. Soo Bin stood up. And because Dai contains the one thing the Void Dominion fears, the knowledge of how to defeat them. Captain Kim activated his comm. Grant the AI access, and get Engineer Choi to the bridge immediately. He looked at Soo Bin. I hope you're right about this. Soo Bin's expression was grim. The scouts were just the beginning, Captain. The real war is about to start. They're here. Those two words from Tactical Officer Lee brought a heavy silence to the bridge of the Sentinel. On the main screen, 5 large Void Dominion warships appeared at the edge of the solar system. They were much bigger than the scout ships, each one almost a kilometer long. Just 5? Captain Kim asked, looking at Soo Bin. Don't be fooled, she replied. One of their warships can destroy an entire planet. 5 is more than enough to wipe out Earth. In the 2 days since the scout ship battle, Earth had worked frantically to prepare. Thanks to Dai's knowledge, they now understood the Void Dominion's greatest weakness. Their ships were connected to a central command vessel through quantum links. Destroy that command ship, and the others would be crippled for a short time. All Earth defense forces are in position, Commander Park reported. Hangek's vengeance is repaired and ready. Soo Bin looked surprised. You fixed my ship. Engineer Choi smiled proudly. With Dai's help, we even improved the gravitational lance. It's now twice as powerful. Captain Kim stood tall, addressing his crew. The plan is simple but dangerous. Our fleet will engage the void ships, drawing their attention. Meanwhile, Commander Park and Lieutenant Han will pilot Hangek's vengeance close enough to identify and destroy the command ship. How will we know which one is the command ship? Park asked. Da can detect the quantum signals, Subin explained. Once we're close enough, we'll know. Kim nodded. This is humanity's most important battle. Not just for our Earth, but for all human worlds across all realities. He looked at each person on the bridge. Let's make it count. Space lit up with energy beams, missiles, and the strange purple weapons of the Void Dominion. Earth's fleet, now equipped with shields based on architect technology, fought bravely against the overwhelming power of the alien warships. Inside HFY Vengeance, Subin and Commander Park flew through the chaos, staying hidden behind debris and disabled ships. Quantum signals detected, Day announced. The second ship from the left is the command vessel. That's the biggest one, Park said, her voice tight. Their defenses are too strong for a direct hit. Subin studied the tactical display, then pointed to a spot on the command ship. There, where the hull curves. That's a weak point in their design. Even with the improved lance, we'd need to be almost on top of them to break through, Park argued. Subin's face grew determined. Then that's what we'll do. Before Park could respond, Subin took control of the ship, accelerating directly toward the Void Command vessel. Enemy fire streaked past them, some hits shaking the ship violently. What are you doing? Park shouted. We'll never survive getting that close. We don't have to survive, Subin said calmly. We just have to hit the target. Understanding dawned on Park's face. A suicide run. Subin nodded. I brought this threat to your world. Let me make it right. The HFY Vengeance took heavy damage as it approached the command ship. Systems failed, fires broke out on lower decks, but still it flew on. Commander, you should go, Subin said, activating an escape pod. Someone needs to tell Earth how to rebuild this technology. Park hesitated, then nodded. Your people would be proud. After Park left in the escape pod, Subin sat alone on the bridge, Daz's blue interface her only company. Impact in 30 seconds, Day announced. Subin closed her eyes. New Joseon remembers its children. From the Sentinel, Captain Kim watched in horror as HFY Vengeance crashed directly into the Void command ship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a brilliant white light erupted from the point of impact, engulfing both ships completely. When the light faded, nothing remained of either vessel. But all across the battlefield, the other Void ships suddenly drifted, their weapons going dark. All ships, attack now, Kim ordered, tears in his eyes. Don't waste their sacrifice. 3 months had passed since the Great Battle. Earth had won, but at a high cost. Thousands of brave men and women had died defending their planet. Cities had been damaged by Void weapons that made it through Earth's defenses. But humanity had survived. On a clear morning, Captain Kim stood in a newly built memorial garden in Seoul. At its center stood a statue, not of a general or a politician, but of Lieutenant Han Subin. The inscription read, "From another Earth, she gave everything for ours." Commander Park stood beside him, her arm still in a sling from injuries sustained during her escape pod's rough landing. "Do you think there was any chance she survived?" Park asked quietly. Kim shook his head. The explosion destroyed both ships completely. There was nothing left. "She knew so much more than she had time to tell us," Park said, "about her Earth, her people, the colonies they built." "At least Day shared the architect technology before the end," Kim replied. "Earth is already building ships with the new designs. In a few years, we'll be ready if the Void Dominion returns." They walked slowly through the garden, past the photos and names of those lost in the battle. Earth was healing, but the scars would remain for generations. As they reached the memorial exit, Kim's communication device beeped. He frowned as he checked the message. "What is it?" Park asked. "Deep Space Monitoring Station. They've detected a strange transmission coming from beyond Neptune. They say it's..." His eyes widened. "It's in Korean." In the command center of Earth Defense Headquarters, Technicians worked frantically to clean up the signal. Captain Kim, Commander Park, and Engineer Choi watched as the static gradually cleared. "Signal locked," announced the communications officer. "Putting it on screen now." The large screen flickered, then showed a familiar face. Battered, with a healing cut above her right eye, but unmistakable. "Lieutenant Han," Kim whispered in disbelief. Su Bin's image smiled tiredly. "Captain Kim, if you're receiving this, then my gamble worked." Her voice crackled with static, but was clear enough to understand. "I didn't die in the explosion. At the last moment, I used the emergency quantum transport system. It was experimental. We weren't sure it would work." "Where is she?" Park asked, looking at the technicians. "Signal origin is approximately 40 light-years from Earth," one replied. "Coming from the HD 85,512 system." Su Bin continued, "I found something incredible, Captain. There are other Korean colonies here, colonies from my reality that the Void Dominion never found. We're hidden, but we're strong. And now we know about your Earth." She held up a data device. "I'm sending coordinates for 5 hidden colonies, along with improved defense technology. The Void Dominion will return to your Earth in approximately 5 years with a larger fleet. They never give up once they find humans." Engineer Choi, who had been analyzing the incoming data, looked up in amazement. "This technology, it's even more advanced than what we've seen before. With this, we could build ships capable of reaching her location in months, not years." Su Bin's face grew serious. "Captain, I believe this is why Hangik's vengeance came to your reality. Not by accident, but by design. To unite humanity across realities against the Void Dominion. Together, we have a chance. Apart, we'll all fall eventually." The transmission began to break up. "I'll send more when I can. Until then, Earth is not alone anymore. We stand with you." Su Bin out. As the screen went dark, Captain Kim turned to his officers. "Contact the United Earth government. Tell them we're initiating Project Unification." His eyes were bright with determination. "It's time for humanity to reach for the stars again, together." In the vastness of space, across the gap between realities, humans had found each other. And in that unity, they would find the strength to face whatever came next. ****. The end ****.